Hello Internet! In this video we're covering the Brewmaster rotation for both hero talent trees, including how the Tissot impacts each hero talent build, plus step priorities and a few essentials to get you started for Season 2. So whether you're picking up the Brewmaster for the first time or looking to optimize your play, I got you covered. My name is Brink and let's get into it. Let's get the new stuff out of the way first, our tier sets in Season 2. The 2 set. Breath of Fire ignites your next Gag Smash, causing it to explode on contact, dealing additional flame strike damage to its primary target and reduce damage to additional targets. It provides your Breath of Fire to give you a buff called Hot Potato. Your 4 set is as followed. Ignited Gag Smashes cause enemies struck to take 8% increased damage from your physical abilities and leave a patch of flames on the ground, dealing fire damage each second for 5 seconds. This fire damage does a decent amount of damage to enemies standing in the patch. And the best part of it is, it causes enemies struck to take 8% increased damage from your physical abilities. So abilities like Flurry Strike that does physical damage will be buffed by 8%. This increase is caused by a debuff called Scorched. Any enemy with the debuff will get currently 8% additional physical damage. These numbers can be changed with future balance tuning. So because of our new tier set, Salsalabim Strength will still be too good to pass on. You want those Breath of Fires to come off cooldown for easy applying of the debuff. Does this change your rotation? No, unless you really want to min-max it. You basically just want to be aware it exists and keep this debuff in your mind. And if you can, keep it up 100% of the time. And maybe precast Breath before opening on the mobs with Gag Smash. Let's start with your core mechanics. At the heart of your gameplay is Stagger. This ability delays a portion of your damage you take. Your job is to manage that delayed damage using brews in your kit, which clears big chunks of your stagger, or incoming damage pool would be another word for it. It's important to understand, stagger is not damage reduction by itself. While it prevents you from taking the full hit immediately, you will still take that damage over time if you don't purify it. Proper brew management is what turns Stagger into real survivability. To strengthen Stagger, you maintain your shuffle buff. This is now also applied by Gag Smash. It used to be just Blackout Kick. Blackout Kick is still important as it still applies 3 seconds of shuffle. And through your mastery, Elusive Roller, it increases your dodge chance, helping you out to avoid some of that incoming damage. I don't want to dive too deep into defensives and advanced min-maxing in this video. Instead of memorizing a fixed order of buttons to press, it's much more useful to understand what your rotation actually means. The goal here isn't to help you memorize an order of spells, it's to provide you with an understanding what it is your abilities are doing and why you're pressing them. First, your resource is energy. This regenerates passively over time. So you're not a builder spender, you're more of an efficient spender. Gag Smash has 2 charges. It does damage to your main target and splash damage to surrounding targets. And it removes their movement speed. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets and it applies shuffle. Now for the additional stuff it all does. It also unleashes your Flurry Strikes, lowers your cooldown on your brews and resets cooldown on your Breath of Fire. And your next Vivify is free. The lowering of the cooldown is because of Blackout Combo and only activated if you use Blackout Kick first. Gag Smash then lowers the cooldown on your brews by 2 seconds. And that's for all your brews. That's already a lot happening, making your Gag Smashes pretty important. Blackout Kick costs no energy, does moderate damage and grants 3 seconds of shuffle, increases your dodge chance and is your Blackout Combo enabler. Tiger Palm costs 25 energy, does moderate damage and reduces cooldowns on your brews by 1 second. Damage and CDR can be increased by talents. Spinning Crane Kick. Physical damage over 1.5 seconds to all enemies within 8 yards. Deals reduced damage beyond 5 targets. Breath of Fire costs no energy, does low amount of damage, but if targets been splashed by Gag Smash, it does more damage and these enemies do 5% less damage to you for 12 seconds. This can be buffed and it can breathe 2 more times. Because of a talent Dragonfire Brew, it deals 100% more damage and it does 2 additional breaths, both dealing a low amount of damage. Exploding Keg deals decent damage, causing the next attack I do to do slightly more damage, and their melee attacks deal 100% reduced damage for 3 seconds, but most importantly, resets cooldown on Gag Smash. Invoke Nizao, the Black Ox, on a 1.6 minute cooldown. Summons your Black Ox for 25 seconds. That attacks your main target and stomps when you Blackout Kick, damaging all nearby enemies. Here's the cool part. While Nizao is active, he takes 40% of the damage that would normally go into your stagger. When you use Purifying Brew, Nizao gets healed for the same amount of damage you clear. Activating it grants 10 stacks of flurry charges that trigger flurry strikes on your next attack at 70% effectiveness. I would say with the new addition of flurry strikes and how it now works, you have two phases of your rotation. The first being inside your cooldown window and the second outside of your cooldown window. The cooldown window being your black ox. When your ox is up, your goal is to do as many flurry strikes as possible by doing as many keg smashes as you can, followed up by a breath of fire. After using both stacks of keg smash, use exploding keg to reset the cooldown on keg smash. Then keg smash and breath of fire. During this window, it's not wrong to weave in blackout kicks, just do so before you keg smash. This way it helps you go for that CDR. And if your global cooldowns demand it, use Tiger Palm as a filler. Brewmasters follow a priority system, with keg smash being your most important spell now, then blackout kick. With that out of the way, just know you're always trying to do combos, as explained in the talent section. Go to a training dummy and practicing the following. Open with blackout kick, followed by a Tiger Palm, keg smash, breath of fire. You have now successfully pressed all your abilities in the right order. You activated blackout combo by opening with blackout kick. You spend that combo on more damage on your Tiger Palm, then did a keg smash that triggered the flurry strikes, and finished with a breath of fire, which global cooldown would get reset by keg smash. When you keep pressing these abilities, during your rotation you will start to notice on a certain point everything is on a global cooldown, and you'll be checking what comes off the global cooldown first. So your goal here is to use Tiger Palm as your filler. You can always press Tiger Palm. Press blackout kick as soon as it comes off global cooldown, and press keg smash when you can, followed up by a breath of fire. Remember, it resets breath of fire, so this sequence is always possible. When you can, keep this cycle going, you're on the right path. And even if you feel like you're waiting for half a global, don't worry. During a dungeon or a pack of adds, you will have plenty of options to press. Like for instance a leg sweep to stun your enemies, or one of your brews to dump some of that incoming damage. After using one of these, one of your important abilities will be ready for you. Keep doing that until your black ox is off cooldown and your exploding keg, so you can line them up for your next big pack of adds. Starting from the opener. Many of the old guides would say start with chi burst from a distance, just before you pull the pack. You can do so if you want. I myself never felt it was that important. And these days your keg smashes have a massive reach, so it's up to you if you like doing this. Different from other tanks, you don't really pop a defensive before pulling. Remember, you are taking damage first, then managing your incoming damage after. If you do need a big defensive for a massive pack, use Fortifying Brew. So next you go into a pack. Open with a keg smash to get that splash damage. This should already provide you with some decent aggro on all the adds. Breath of Fire. Next you're going to blackout kick and then Tiger Palm. Make sure all targets are in front of you. My thought process is as followed. I'm trying to use blackout kick followed up by a Tiger Palm for that single target damage, as it increases damage on Tiger Palm from the blackout combo. This combined with the talents that make it do more damage, makes it pretty straightforward. Now for your aspect of harmony. Activate your Celestial Brew under the following two conditions. One when your stagger is high, and when you're tanking a big pack of mobs. Now start keeping an eye on your stagger bar and weave in Celestial Infusion, Purifying Brews to dump damage. Once you get this in your system, you are ready to do keys on your monk. Just remember, always be pressing something with intent. Know why you are pressing the order of your abilities, and you will be rocking the Brewmaster in no time. Step priority. When it comes to step priority for Brewmaster monks, you have two options, and this kinda depends on whether you want to go for a defensive playstyle, making you a bit more tankier in higher keys and therefore lean a little less on your healer, or if you want to go for a more offensive build, pumping out a bit more damage on your damage meters. But before looking into the exact priority, it's important to understand what each stat actually provides. First we have agility, your main stat. Agility is found on all leather gear and many trinkets. It increases both your attack power and armor, while also granting a small amount of parry. Since it's your primary attribute, agility is almost always the most valuable stat on a piece of gear, and makes up for the largest portion of your character's overall power. For secondary stats, Brewmaster monks have four options. Your first one being critical strike. 46 rating is 1%, so if you have 1380 crit, you have 30% chance for attacks and heals to be twice as effective, which often includes gear effects like trinkets. Agility-based specializations such as Brewmaster automatically have 10% baseline critical strike. Your next secondary stat is haste. 44 rating is 1%, increases attack speed, energy regeneration, and reduces the cooldown of some rotational abilities. As an energy-based specialization, haste does not reduce the Brewmaster's 1 second global cooldown. Next is mastery. 46 rating is 1 mastery point. So what is your mastery again? Elusive Brawler. giving you a stacking dodge chance buff when an enemy successfully hits you with a direct attack, or you cast Blackout Kick. This chance resets whenever you dodge an attack. Your attack power is also increased at all times. Finally, there's versatility. 54 rating is 1%, increases all damage and healing, while also reducing damage taken. This also applies to gear effects like trinkets. As for the actual priority, both defensive or offensive follow very similar principles, with defensive placing additional emphasis on versatility, while offensive tends to be slightly more focused on crit than verse. But remember, an item level increase will always be an upgrade, because of the more agility it provides. And be sure to sim yourself for better results. And there you have it, the Brewmaster Season 2 guide. If you want a deeper dive into the talents or gameplay tips, be sure to check out some of my prior guides on this channel. If you do find this video helpful, why not help me out by hitting a like? And if you want to see more, don't forget to subscribe. Do let me know in the comments below what you will be playing in Season 2, or what guides you would like to see from me next. Thanks for watching, Brink's out.